Authorities are hoping harsher rules in Greater Sydney will stem the record rise in daily COVID cases. New South Wales has requested help from the Defence Force to ensure compliance in problem hotspots. There'll be boots on the ground in southwest and western Sydney from Monday. Reporter Cayman Gok has more from Sydney.
The situation here has gone from bad to worse, so these new measures will impact about 2 million people across southwest and western Sydney, and they'll be impacting those 8 LGAs of concern. They are Blacktown, Cumberland, Fairfield, Georges River, Parramatta, Liverpool, Campbelltown and Canterbury Bankstown. If you live in one of those LGAs and want to leave your home, you now have to wear a mask at all times. It doesn't matter if you're shopping or going out exercising outdoors by yourself. That is the new rule. On top of that, you can't go beyond 5 kilometres from where you live, and that will also apply to the singles bubble. The only people who can leave those LGAs are authorised workers, people such as frontline staff, health workers, people working in supermarkets and logistics, to name a few. There is a list on the New South Wales Government website. But those authorised workers in Canterbury Bankstown are required to undergo surveillance testing and get a COVID-19 test every 3 days. Now, the plan was for Year 12 students to go back to the classrooms for face-to-face learning in a fortnight. Year 12 students in those LGAs will receive the Pfizer vaccine, and it's been revealed that they will get their jabs at the Kudos Bank Arena, which will turn into a mass vaccination hub. So once they get their jabs here, that will then open up to the public where they can receive the AstraZeneca vaccine. Ros?
And what role will Defence play in the whole compliance operation, Cayman?
Quite a big role, Ros. Police Commissioner Mick Fuller requested for 300 ADF personnel, and they'll be arriving as early as today to undergo training over the weekend and will begin helping police from Monday onwards. They could be here for weeks, and they'll be assisting in logistics and operations on the ground, such as checking on positive COVID cases and close contacts. But police themselves have also been given more powers to enforce compliance. Officers can now shut down businesses, work sites, public premises that are caught flouting the health orders. Also, if you're seen without a mask when you should have one, the fine has more than doubled from $200 to $500. Authorities have also issued a stern warning to those who plan on attending a rumoured protest tomorrow. Police say they are prepared, boots will be on the ground, and they won't tolerate that kind of behaviour again.
A teenage girl in Queensland has tested positive for coronavirus. Authorities say the 17-year-old from Taringa is a student at Indooroopilly State High School in Brisbane's southwest. She was tested after becoming unwell yesterday and is believed to have been at school for 2 days while infectious. The school has been closed for deep cleaning and for contact tracing to occur. Chief Health Officer Dr. Jeanette Young says genomic sequencing results will provide more information.
I'm struggling to understand how she's acquired it, so we'll have to wait till we get whole genome sequencing results back later today to be able to work out from where she's got this. So we do know that we have had 13 incursions of the virus into Queensland over the last 6 weeks, and we know that in any particular outbreak, someone can get infected, not have symptoms, and then spread the virus to someone else, which is why it's critically important that we all remain very, very cautious until the vast majority of people have been able to be vaccinated. As soon as we became aware of the case, the Public Health Unit contacted the school. In fact, I think that was a bit after midnight they did that, and the school was so proactive, immediately let all of their students know that they would not be coming to school today, so the school has been closed today, so there can be cleaning, and also so we can go and contact trace and work out which students need to go into 14 days quarantine. Partly we'll also be able to get back the whole genome sequence result to work out the risk there, to work out which students will need to quarantine. And also we'll then find out how the student travelled to school, whether there was interaction with school kids from other schools. All of those things will be happening as we speak.
Victoria has recorded 3 new locally acquired COVID-19 cases, which have all been linked to known outbreaks and were all isolating whilst infectious. Reporter Stephanie Ferrier has more from Melbourne.
We have just 3 new local cases of coronavirus here in Victoria, but the really good news is that all of those 3 cases are linked, and most importantly, they were all in quarantine throughout their infectious period. So that is great news indeed, that we haven't seen any further cases as a result of the infected traffic controller who was down at the Moonee Valley Racecourse COVID testing site back on the weekend. So this is really helpful to hear this, and it's off the back of some 45,000 test results received. So that's also another good piece of news, with 19,000 plus people going out to get their vaccinations at state-run hubs as well.
And Steph, what's the advice then for residents in the complex building behind you?
Yeah, so we are here at the Balmoral Apartments, which is on Riversdale Road in Hawthorn in Melbourne's east. And this site was actually upgraded from a Tier 2 site back last Friday. Yesterday it was, they had Department of Health officials here upgrading some of the residents here in some of these apartments up to a Tier 1, which unfortunately means that they are going to have to remain isolated for 14 days. That's as a result, we understand, of a resident here testing positive and the use of a common stairwell for some of them. So there are some signs that are up on the doors behind me that say to those other residents, please don't be alarmed, that this doesn't mean that this site is causing any sort of danger whatsoever. They have already gone through and done a deep clean, but unfortunately for some of those, they will join residents who are also quarantining. There's a few that are across the other side of the city in Melbourne's west in Newport. That is as a result of that infectious traffic controller going and visiting his partner over there, and also still some people in the La Crosse Tower, which is in the Docklands as well, that are isolating too. But just in terms of that traffic controller, they have now been able to genomically link that case to the outbreak. However, they are still trying to work out exactly where this man aged in his 20s picked up coronavirus from. They had gone through and identified the fact that there were some positive cases, or some people who had gone got tested at that Moonee Valley Racecourse COVID testing site who had eventually turned positive, but they don't know whether or not that is the source of infection. So they're still madly working through those details, and obviously trying to find out his movement and all of his close contacts as well. And I'm sure we'll have further information when they come forward for a news conference today. The other thing that we heard yesterday as well was late yesterday there was another positive case that came up, and that was in the Bass Coast Shire or Gippsland. So that was somebody who was already being quarantined. So that person would have been involved in our 3 cases today. And there is also a wastewater alert because they've seen viral fragments in the Camberwell area. So anyone around that area, up in Baldwin as well, should be just making sure that they really do go and get tested if they have any symptoms whatsoever.
And some good news for Victorians hoping to travel. We like good news at the moment.
Yes, so at least that is a piece of good news, notwithstanding the fact that we did have this infectious traffic controller come up. The Tasmanian government has decided to downgrade the risk for Victoria, which means that we're now seen as a low risk, and that importantly means that all Victorians who want to go and visit Tassie can do so without having to quarantine for 14 days. So it is also another sign of a few things opening up, and hopefully we can see a few more in the not too distant future as well.